Hey guys.
Hey.
Listen, welcome to the Girl Take Note podcast.
Hey.
It is the first show, Jackie.
It is.
It's the first mini show. It's not like a full episode yet. It's just like I told people, I'm just giving them a teaser.
A little teaser. A little taste.
A little taste. You know,
Okay.
a little appetizer.
A little snack.
That's it.
Okay.
I just wanted to introduce the show to everybody. Listen, the Girl Take Note podcast is all about real stories, real people, the real things we go through in life, and just us coming together and discussing those. It's like you're coming in on conversations that I would normally have with my friends, or I'll be solo sometimes, and I'm going to have some guests as well. So make sure you guys always tune in. We're launching episodes every Thursday. So make sure you tune in Thursday. This episode itself will launch next Thursday.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm excited. Listen, I got Jacq Sams with me.
Hey.
Do you guys know who Jacq Sams is? She is a superstar in her own right.
Okay now.
She's a creative.
All right.
Okay, she's a producer.
Yeah.
She is an artist. She's a mom. She's a wife. I probably should have said mom and wife first. I probably should have went in that order because that's the political correct thing to say, right? It's going that way.
You know, the other day I was changing my bio and putting some more things, and I had that to the end as well. So I don't know why.
Because let me tell you why. Because sometimes when we get married, as we know, we get caught up in the wife, the mom stuff.
Right.
And we forget about who we were, like who we used to be and all of our accomplishments.
Right.
I was just having this conversation with another friend of ours, Christine and Jacq. We were all on three-way. And we were talking about, you know what? Bitch, we got resumes.
We do have resumes. We've been doing a lot.
Jackie, you got a resume.
A long resume.
People don't know your history in TV.
Yeah.
People don't know your history in music.
No.
Like you was doing rock way before any other black girl was doing rock.
Of course. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And we forget that about ourselves sometimes. And that's, those are the kind of conversations I want us to have here on this show, because I think it's important for us to have those conversations not only as women, but just as people who have dreams and hopes and aspirations to do more than just what you're defined as by just a mom and a wife.
Right.
Not to say they're not important.
Right.
But there's just so much more to us.
There is a lot to us, and I believe if you're living, you should be dreaming.
Hey, listen.
If you're not dreaming, you're not living.
If you're not dreaming, you're not living.
Come on.
That's a word.
That's a whole word. If you're not dreaming, you're not living. You always have to have hope and vision and looking towards or looking to something.
Yeah, you do. And that's why I want to have this show today and give people kind of like a little snack on what it's about. And that, Jackie's here because, one, she asked me a question when we was on our walk, right? And she asked me a question, which she asks all the time. Her husband asks all the time as well. But I never really gave it any thought before. I used to just spit out an answer as if I knew. But this time around, I really gave it some thought. And she asked, tell me the question you ask all the time, Jackie.
So the question was, if there was anything that you could do, I think, is that the question? Hold on. Why don't you remind me of the question? Because I ask a lot of questions.
Question: If you can do anything, knowing that you would not fail.
So that's something that my husband always asks. When he goes, "What would you do?"
Yeah.
But then to put a little finesse on it, what is it that you really want? Yeah. What is it that really makes you happy? And if the thing that makes you happy, if you knew you could do it and not fail at it, what would it be? Because a lot of times we don't check in with what we really want because we think about all the variables that go with it. Yeah. It's like, okay, I really want this, but I got to do this, do this, to do this. And so I really don't know if I want it or I don't want to admit that I want it.
Yes.
Because of all the things, age, time, money, whatever those things, those blocks could be, we don't really want to admit. We don't want to own up to it.
I think that's a key word right there. We don't want to admit that we want it.
Yeah, because if we don't do it, then that's another thing we fail at.
Exactly. Or even if we don't do it and we don't admit to it, we couldn't. We don't
have to admit to it. It's like
we fail. I just didn't try.
We just didn't try, but it's still a fail.
But it's still a fail.
Right. We fail ourselves. You named all these wonderful things that in the beginning. I just need to adjust that camera. I'm in my production head, right? Yeah. So as a producer, I just feel like I
gotta, see what I mean? This is real stuff here, y'all. I'm not even gonna edit this shit out. I'm gonna keep this in the show because this is a part of the show. Sorry. I'm like, I was like, this camera is
like it's very tilted, and if you're doing your content and your editor is gonna edit, then as I'm sitting here as a producer, this camera is way twisted. It's twisted.
You know what? I'm glad you fixed it because I didn't even see that as well.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I'm glad that
I'm looking all around. That's what I do.
That's your team.
That's what I do. Yeah.
And that's what you do. And so, listen, because you asked me that question when we was on our walk, I really began to think about it. And I really had to say to myself, what do you want to do?
What is it you really want to do?
Want to do because, listen, I've been blessed to be in a position.
Yes.
To have, this year I set out to say, you know what, I want to find, I already had a job, but I'm like, I want to find something where I can reclaim my time.
Yes.
Where I want more time to pursue the things I really want to do in my life.
Right.
Not that I knew what they really were.
Yes.
But I really wanted more time. Mm-hmm. And so God blessed me with a job that gives me that time. Gives me a great salary.
Right.
So not only do I have the time, but I also have finances to invest in what I want to do.
Right.
And I did, and for a minute, I wasn't doing nothing.
No. And even when I asked you the question, real talk, you didn't answer.
I didn't.
And I know Sean for a long time. So we're working with other ladies, and they're like, oh, what are y'all talking about? And so they're getting in the conversation, and I'm slowly watching her because I asked the question. I noticed that she just shook her head and smiled, listened to everybody else, and I said, oh, she's not answering the question. And it's that refusal to admit.
Yeah.
You were having one of them moments and I said, the thing about it is that you are like, look at these accomplishments you've accomplished.
Yeah. Yep.
But what else? Because, like if we even go way back, this walk is just part of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
If we even go way back, that's a whole nother hour in the conversation about my motto of going dreaming.
Oh, yeah. The story,
because there's a whole story. We'll probably have to do a part 2 of this.
We will.
We'll go forwards to go backwards.
We're gonna definitely get into that part, and it is gonna be another show because it is a story for everybody.
But you refuse to answer the question at that moment, which is fine. I think it's okay to take a moment to think, or to wrestle with yourself, or whatever it is. You tell me, and I'm glad we're talking about this because you tell me what happened at that moment when I asked you the question.
So let me tell you, when you asked me the question, I didn't answer it, and I paused because I was like, I don't know what the fuck I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, if I could do something and not fail at it, knowing that it's going to succeed, you know what I mean? You want to be you just want to know exactly what that is. You don't want to just spew something out. Like I used to before. I'm like, oh, I want to be in tech. I want to be a tech mogul. I want to be a tech mogul.
Yes.
And this time,
an investor.
I want to
CEO.
Build an investment firm for black women and invest in tech companies.
Yes.
Which I'm
respected amongst my peers. I want to do that. I believe you.
But I had to really think about it this time because I'm like, you know what? I had to think about this time because I had the time and I had the resources to do it.
Right, because all those other things, there was always something to stop you. So now you got no excuse.
It was the 9 to 5. I was there 8 hours.
Your time.
I didn't have time. By the time you come home, you're tired.
The
money.
Now you good.
Now I'm good.
Right.
So it's like, that's why I paused and I said, you know what? I really got to think about it. So when I came home, I really started thinking about it. And when I woke up that next day, I was at my computer and I'm like, what do I want to do? Because I feel like I'm just wasting my time. I have all this time on my hands, all this newfound time. Just in case somebody from my work is watching, I do work.
Right. Okay, you just work.
Don't get it. You work
efficiently.
I work efficiently. I get the job done.
Yeah.
But I have a boss that doesn't hound me and is not a micromanager.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I have all this new time. I don't want to just nap it away.
It's the work-life balance.
It's a true work-life balance.
Yes.
Like I've never had it before, and I don't think most people know what work-life balance is.
Right.
Until you really come into a job that gives you that. Because I didn't know what it was.
Of course.
And so I sat on my computer and I was just sitting there, and I had a notepad that I brought. I brought 3 notepads. I don't even know why. I don't even use paper because I'm such a digital girl. And so, but it said take note on it. And I kind of knew that I wanted to do another podcast because I did the DIY for social media, but it wasn't really, it was teaching social media. It wasn't really fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
You know, but I wanted to do something that was more to my roots, you know what I'm saying? And radio and stuff like that. So I saw the thing that said Take Note, and I was like, you know what? That'll be a good name for a podcast.
Good name. Yeah, great name, actually.
And then I said, you know, if I put a girl in front of it, they were like, girl, take note.
Girl, take note. It gives you a niche.
It gives you a niche. It defines it a little bit more. And then I thought about it, and the more I started thinking about it, the more I started saying it out loud, then I went right online, because Jackie's really good for going online. When she come on IG, she goes straight to online and buy, like, the domain name, the Instagram, the Facebook, YouTube, all of it. So
Go get, grab, capture all of that. Even if you're not going to use it, capture it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I did.
Right.
And it was all available.
Right.
And I was very surprised that nobody had this name. It was all available.
Yeah.
And so when we came back on the next walk,
you were like,
I was
like, wait a minute, hold up. This is a whole nother company. I be watching her. I'm like, because you as friends, it's kind of like you're one, right? Sean and I always do everything together, so I know how she moved. So the conversation from Monday to Thursday was such a different vibe. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. This is the person that didn't even, all she did was smile in that.
That's all I did.
Okay. You didn't even show a sign of, I don't know. You was just like,
like, I ain't giving no answer.
I ain't giving no answer to you. Here we go. Here we go again with your stuff, Jackie. Because you'd be like, here we go again.
Always something.
Right? Bringing this to me right now. So when you came back, I was like, oh, okay, let's go.
I was ready.
Sorry, I got excited.
I know. I was ready, though. I was ready to answer because I found that thing and I got excited about it again. And that's what I want to talk about today, too, is about, the things that bring us joy, because we had that conversation, too.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, I just don't have nothing that's
joyful. That's another question I asked. Like, I'm always posing these questions. Like, what brings you joy?
And I definitely couldn't answer that.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, I was like, Jack, you know what? I have to learn how to schedule joy. Put things aside for joyful moments. For me. Not for everybody else, not for the husband, the kids, the family, but just for me.
Right. Because you do like to create moments in your family. You're big on family.
I do it all the time.
So it's important for you to create environments where your family's joyful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you do get some gratification out of that. Mm-hmm. But what makes you joyful?
But what makes me joyful?
Right.
And that's the question that I pose on, I told on social media, is like, what do you do that brings you joy? And I'm not talking about your kids, because people love to say, oh, my kids bring me joy.
Right.
Oh, this. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about something for you. Yes, your kids bring you joy. They're your children. We understand that. But what really brings you joy?
Of course. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I had to think about. And that's what made me start this podcast. Because I'm like, we talk all the time, and
all the time.
A lot of our conversations should have been captured on camera.
Of course, content.
Content.
I mean, if we had a camera and or audio, something, we do have phones, but if we're able to capture like most of our conversations or most of our footage or most of we're a whole show within ourselves.
We're a whole show.
So we do talk like this all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's now an opportunity for us to capture it, for us to learn from something from each other, because we always do.
Of course.
For us to share that with other people,
right?
And for other people to be able to learn as well, and maybe spark conversations in them to have with themselves or either amongst their friends in terms of like what brings them joy.
Like honestly, what brings you joy? Like. And I feel like, especially in a time like now, to be real 100%, like a lot of people are not experiencing joy. And of course, you might not put these things together, but when you're lacking joy, you're really weak.
Oh, yeah.
You're not as strong. You ever notice when you have a little laughter behind you, you kind of have a little pep in your step, and you're like, oh my goodness, and you could tackle. But when you're already depleted and you're sad and everything seems so heavy, you're not strong enough. So like if we got to be tough now, especially now, what we've seen and what's going on. And so joy has to be there. It's like it's not overrated. It's not something for young people. It's not something that is not possible. It is not something that we should put to the back burner. Joy is like for real, like happiness, some fun is necessary.
It's top priority. Yeah. It's top priority because we have a lot of responsibilities, and I think a lot of people, the reason why we don't experience that joy is because we let those responsibilities take over everything. Yeah. It's about the bills. It's about, I know it's about the bills. It's about cooking dinner because I don't know what the fuck to make for dinner no more. And it's about kids. It's about the family lifestyle. You know what I mean? But it's like I had to think about the things that I need for me, and I was like, man, this is an outlet that I always love to do. You know what I mean?
You started.
I started in it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it. Your girl was in radio.
Yeah, you was on Sirius one. What did you know about Sirius, really?
What people knew about Sirius.
The crazy thing about it is that I walked through Sirius, the building way before when it was in construction.
I was with you that day.
Yes.
Your friend. Yep.
But he had that show. He was developing satellite
coming out.
Yep.
And it was crazy.
So we were going to see Mel LaRue, something like that. Mm-hmm. And right before the show, we were able to go and walk through Sirius at the time. So you don't even know what we've seen. If I write a book on the tables that I have been in, the rooms that I've been in, the people I've known, that's a whole nother show.
I used to be like friendly, and I ain't gonna say we were best friends, but with Howard Stern at that time.
Yeah,
he was the $100 million man
in
radio. Sirius Satellite Radio gave him $100 million to be on their station.
Yes.
Do you understand what I mean? Like,
crazy.
it was crazy. I was there when 50 Cent created his radio station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like people don't know our resume.
Right. And we're not braggers.
We're not
braggers. So we think that if we lead with that or if we mention it, then it's not humble, because we try to be real humble or whatever naturally, and we just love on people or hang or connect with people based on just where we are currently. So we don't ever pull back, but I love Drink Champs. I love watching that show, and they talk about giving you your flowers. Sometimes it's like you got to give yourself a little bit of your own flowers. Give yourself a little bit of like a pat on your back, especially if you are in a space where you have forgotten what makes you happy.
You've forgotten what makes you happy,
right? Like if you haven't tapped into it enough, or you're working in a field that's great and it's providing, but you're not going for you're not doing what you want to do. And I saved this reel. It talked about I can have this and this. So most of the time we feel like we have to choose one, but literally what you're doing now is, because you're tapping into what you want, you're tapping into your joyful place, you're tapping into your talents. Yeah. You are having this, which is your career, because you're great at it, and what you're joyful about. And why do we feel like we can't have both? And because we've been tricked into this thing that, when I'm working a job, I can't do this, or when I'm working in my dreams, I can't do this, or like we subscribe to this thing or whatever. What they say, I don't even know who they is, but I said that real. Who they is?
Them over there, I don't know who they is.
Right, but you're doing the epitome of what the reel was about today. I can have this and this.
And I can work a full-time job and still have my dreams, work on my passion, work on my goals. I can do it all at the same time. And what's so crazy about us, we've always done that, though. We've always done it. I don't know what they're saying about our dreams and goals. I don't know if that's what we ain't never achieved them, but
we've been so close.
But we've always we've
done it.
Held jobs and worked on our dreams.
Yeah, both. Yes, we've always been in that. I don't know if we call it a struggle, or in that field, or whatever that is, whatever that realm.
It's been there doing something, always.
Yeah, it just we had to always tap back into something.
And I think we were always doing something simply because when God puts something in you, it never goes away. It never goes away, and you're always constantly in a battle with yourself. Like, you know, like, okay, I mean, because even at me, for one point, I was like, I'm just going to chill with the job and that's it.
Right.
Like, I'm good. But then it was just like something started stirring in me, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to be ungrateful, but I'm more than just this.
Yeah.
I'm more than this. I see greater for myself. I want greater for myself. And the greater that I want is beyond this job. You know what I mean? It's well beyond this job.
I should have put this on the do not disturb.
Yeah, because we're not going to be able to edit that sound out. This is first show blooper. This is what happens when you do your first show and, you know, you just forgot a few things. You forgot to put the phones on mute. That's all right. On the do not disturb.
My mother learned a little bit of technology. She's calling me on FaceTime right now. She FaceTiming me. Oh my goodness, the camera should have. Okay, there we go.
It That's good that it came back on and it didn't record that piece. Good. But yeah, so like I said, we always find a way to do both. But this time around in my life, you know, I just wanted to make sure that I did something that made me happy, something that, you know, you wanted, something that you're authentic with, something that's not like, that you're not doing by yourself, you know what I'm saying? And that you're able to really, just really move forward. You know what I mean? And so this time around, I wanted to be committed to something, and I wanted to put my all into it and be 100% myself. There's nothing better than being yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pretend to be somebody you're not. I mean,
you can't do that for a long period of time anyway.
No.
No. No friend.
You just don't survive that way.
No. Authentically you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I'm like, I'm happy to have this show right now. You
What's
know?
going on here?
I have no idea. Do you have 3 phones? I thought you only had 2.
I got 3.
No, this is the point where we're just supposed to end the fucking.
No, we're not. No, keep going.
And all her damn cell phones. But
again, I did think.
This is crazy.
I did think that I should be putting this on.
Do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
Why did you say something from the beginning?
Because we started.
This is just a wine moment. So listen, to toast, I'm gonna toast the first show, huh? I got some wine here for us.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, you work in an industry. In your
previous life,
you work in an industry where you know all about this, and so
I do.
It is taking you back.
That I worked for a company that sold wine, beer, and spirits. And it's taking me back there. And so I was in the Wine for Life Club, so I get cases of wine. I'm not in it no more, but I got my last case before I left. Sure did. The bitch made sure she got that. And I just want us to toast to the show, to the start of something new for me, to the start of me living in my joyful moments, being authentically myself, and just having fun while I'm doing it, Jack.
Yeah.
Like, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to that, man. I'm happy. It's good, Jackie.
I know it's good.
It's nice, it's cold, and it's quite
It feels very refreshing.
It's quite delicious.
Yeah.
But, so I want to continue the conversation because, like I said, I wanted to put out a question in terms of people asking what brings them joy in their life. Mm-hmm. So now the question's for you, Jack.
The question is turned on me.
The question's turned on you. Listen,
why are you going to turn the question on me in this moment?
What brings me joy? I'm sitting here, I'm doing this.
Now that you had your moment.
I have my moment. I figured it the fuck out. I know what brings me joy, y'all. This is it right here. I'm doing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Being able to share and, because we all have gifts. I heard this guy yesterday to explain, he said we all have gifts. And gifts is like that special thing that God gave us. And it's our responsibility to share our gifts with the world.
Yeah.
He said the problem is that a lot of people just don't tap into their gifts.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of people don't live the life that they want, or they're not happy because they're not tapping into their gifts.
Yes.
So, Jack.
Mine hasn't changed.
Your joy?
No, meaning the things that I believe bring me. It's my creativity.
Oh, yes.
At a certain point, when you make the revelation that your creativity either becomes a hobby or it becomes, what feeds you. Yeah. And so I think for me, where I get to a point where my creativity actually supports my lifestyle.
Yes.
That's, where, so it started for me always, music has always been number one, and television shows, like, creating TV, movies, those, I went to school for it. I've worked in it for many years. I still am content producing, going with the times, but those things, there's always been my top three has been wellness,
yes,
entertainment with my music, and creating a show. The producing shows. That's
always been your lane. You've always been a creative. You know what I mean? You've always been an entertainer. Give Jacq a microphone.
I'm an entertainer.
Her shine. Yeah. You see her come to life. You see her do all those great things.
Yeah. Always with some sort of mic in my hand, whether it be for music.
Exactly.
I envision myself doing the biggest tour.
Yeah.
Where but it's a production. I believe everybody has a story, and their life is a story, and that's why I'm so interested in. And I ask questions about people's journey. I always love the journey, so I feel like that should be documented. And I'm always in a space where God has given me the ability to. My ideas. I'm an ideas girl, so I'm always writing down ideas. I'm always writing down treatments. I'm always writing down songs. I'm always in that space. My phone has like tons in my note section where I have to always grab. I used to have a notebook where I used to write things down and then lose it, so that doesn't work. But yeah, at least now I have my phone where I could just type it in, or I text one phone to the next. I'm always in that space of creativity. So for me, what I want is to have financial wealth and let my creativity and my dreams and other things that I'm great at sustain my life.
Yeah, and I think that's the goal for all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what faith is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's having faith and walking by it and seeing it and believing before it even happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the way you live your life.
Yeah.
And so we're both going to get there.
Yeah, of course. And I think everybody has the right, and there's space enough for everyone to do the same. I think we would have a happier place. We live in a dope world where everybody's fed in that way, where it'll be less problems.
An amazing world if we all tapped into our gifts.
We
all wasn't afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't share their gifts because they're afraid of judgment, rejection. And it's a part of life, what I'm saying? But as long as you don't lose it for yourself, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like I see myself, I see where this podcast can go. I already see it, I already planned it out already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More so than I did anything else. So I'm just like, I see where it goes. It doesn't matter to me as nobody else believe it. As long as I believe it,
right? That's
all that matters to me. And I think that's where everybody needs to be, is that as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you believe in what you're doing, then that's all that matters.
So where did that come from? Where you've been brave enough or have that thought process where as long as you believe it, it doesn't matter. Like, where did that stem from?
Listen, that stemmed from my faith, and that stemmed from my mom. You know what I mean? I watched my mom be a single mom, raise 8 kids. You know what I'm saying? And my mom has such strong faith. And my mom wasn't like the most wealthiest woman, but my mom worked really hard, and we never suffered for anything. But I seen my mom go through some things and just stand strong and never waver. You know what I mean? And that's what she told me. I remember in my life, at one point in my life, a few points in my life actually, that things were hard. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I feel like my back is against a wall and I don't know which way to go. Like I can't see it. And she said to me, I'm gonna tell you this, Sean. Faith and fear can't dwell in the same place.
That's right.
She said, you got to make a choice. She said, either you're going to believe it, or you're going to have faith and know that God is going to take you out of this situation and put you somewhere better, or you're going to give in to the fear and you're never going to get out of it. And I swear to you, ever since my mother said that to me, I always fall back on that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be fearless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to be fearless when you want to pursue something in life. You just have to go for it. But you always made a good point. You made a good point last time. You always made a good point. I'm not saying that. You do. I'm just saying, like, last time we talked, we talked about how we stopped doing things because of finances.
Right.
Like, finance, I think, we're probably one of the major. I don't even think we have fear that we won't make it.
Right.
It's been like, bitch, I ain't got the money to put into this. Like, where's the money from?
That has stopped us a lot.
That has been the number one thing that has stopped us from moving forward is finances.
Finances.
That's it. The money to invest in the things that you want to invest in.
Right.
And people are like, oh, you got to get other people money. You got to get other people money. Yeah, but that shit ain't that easy to get other people money. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Especially as a black and brown person, it takes a lot for us to get other people money.
Right.
Like, it really do. You know, they always want to see us come with something more. We always got to work harder. Presentation always got to be 10 times better, more extravagant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where other races don't have this type of issue, if you ask me. They can walk into a room and sell people just on an idea, not even no paperwork, no nothing.
Right.
But we have to come well prepared. So
Yeah.
that's been the main thing that I think that has always stopped us. It's never been fear. Like, we are fearless. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna try some shit. We're
gonna
gonna
try
try it. We would do it and we'll tell people we doing it, and they'll be like, oh, here y'all go again. Here y'all go again. Try something new, but we never stop dreaming, and that's just how we do.
Yeah. You have to go dreaming.
You have to go dreaming, man. You have to continue to dream.
It is your imagination and the ability to see past where you're at is your most powerful tool. I mean, of course, we do need the finances, and that's just being real.
That's just being real.
But
Yep.
but a combination of having both. Come on.
Come on now. You can just imagine what you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful to be in a position that I am in now. And I want to be wise about the steps that I make. You know what I mean? I don't want to make just foolish steps just because.
Right.
I want to, be very methodical in what I do.
Yeah.
And so I just want to, and that's what I'm doing this podcast. I'm being a lot more, I'm looking at it as a lot more of a business than I did before.
Okay.
I think before, when I did the DIY podcast, DIY for social media, I wasn't looking at it as a business.
Okay.
I wasn't looking at it, well, how can I monetize this?
Okay.
This time around, I'm looking at this as a real business. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at this as just my way to give back.
Okay.
Something that I enjoy doing. So if it's going to make money, great. You know what I mean? But I'm still going to continue to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? No matter what. But I have a different outlook for it.
Okay.
And I believe God placed that on my heart.
Okay.
And that's what I believe. So
once you believe it, hey, everybody else believes it.
Hey. What can they do?
What can they do? What can they do? What can they do?
Oh my God, Jackie, listen, we've been talking for a minute. This is supposed to only been like a mini little episode.
Oh, okay. Because we got a lot to say.
We've been talking for a minute, and I'm going to close it out. But before I close it out, I'm going to ask you just one question. I think I'm going to ask everybody on my show.
Okay.
What advice would you give to your younger self? If you can go back to let me see how far you go back. I'm not going to say teenage years. Let's say your 20s. Because that's where I think most of it starts. When we figure out, okay, what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't stop. Don't pause. It is very natural. It is okay to continue to the relationships that you have. There's nothing wrong with staying connected. Know that you have not because you ask not. So never worry about asking. Always ask. Always continue to ask. Always continue to be a yes for yourself. And you're on the right track.
That's good advice. Yeah, I remember you during that time. You was on the right track.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, that is really good advice, Jack. Well, listen, I want to thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm super excited that I had you on the show.
Yes.
Okay, it always does well when you have your bestie with you and you can just have conversations. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, listen, guys.
I'm proud of you.
I did it.
I love the journey. And I love to hear when something goes from concept to production to revelation. And so, literally, you got the concept. It was something building up in you. That whatever it takes, family out there, for whatever sparks you, whatever you need somebody to light a fire.
Oh yeah, you do.
You just need that kind of support.
Person.
Yeah, so
for me.
Yeah, it's like you need that thing, and once it goes, once it's once it's lit, once the fire is lit, or I don't know if it's the fire, whatever that thing is called. Once it's ignited in you, then you take it to concept, and then you work towards it, and now you're here. That's where you can reveal it to the world. So that's always incredible. It's dope. And I'll, anytime you want me to come back, I'll come back and say hello to the family. But I'm excited about the podcast, and you're going to do really, really good things.
Listen, thanks for hanging out with me, Jackie.
Yes.
This is the Girl Take No podcast. I'm with your host, Shaunie Sanders.
Yep.
My bestie, Jacq Sams here. And we thank you guys for watching. We thank you guys for listening. Wherever you're listening to your podcast, we thank you for taking the time and coming on this conversation with us and taking us along with your day for your ride. And we'll see you guys next time.
See you later.